Tuperos y tuperos, today on DOOP By The River, we are talking about the Supporter Shield winning Philadelphia Union. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally a trophy in the trophy case. We're going to talk about that New England matchup, and of course, we're going to talk about what everyone has been talking about today. We have Mr. the legend himself, Sebastien Toux. Let's go, baby. It's all coming up next on DOOP By The River, and you do not want to go anywhere, guys. Let's get this started. And that is right. Well, welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. And before we move forward, guys, do not forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. It would truly mean the world to everyone here at DOOP By The River if you could rate and subscribe to the podcast. Before we move forward in this episode, guys, of course, I got to introduce my panels of Union fans and Union experts here to helping me today with this DOOP By The River episode. And today I want to start off with my man, the Philly voice himself, Mr. Jeff Green, back at it today. What's going on, Jeff? How you feeling today, man?
What's up, John? It's good to see you guys. I know it's been a while. Not that I don't love you all, but I couldn't miss this one.
Yes, it's definitely one you don't want to miss. That is for sure. We are so happy to have you back on here, Jeff, and it's going to be a lot of fun today, buddy. Definitely.
I can't wait.
All right, next up, we got my man, Mr. Justin Freiberg. He was partying all weekend after Supporter Shield, just like the rest of us. Justin, how you feeling today?
After the bender that I'm sure we all went through the last few days, I'm here, I'm cooking, I'm ready to talk some Supporter Shield, baby.
Yes, sir. I think all of us have been drinking since Sunday, so it's okay. It's completely okay. All right. Last but not least, in my panel of DOOP By The River hosts, of course, my man, my right-hand man. He's got the 2020 Fight for Philly jersey on. My man, Mr. Tim Lovingood. Tim, what's going on, baby?
The Union won the Supporter Shield. We have Sebastien Toux here talking with us about the Supporter Shield and his career. I'm a happy Union fan, Union writer. I'm excited to go. Let's do this.
Absolutely, dude. It's going to be a great one. And of course, last but not least, how do I even introduce this man? The longtime Philadelphia, the longest tenured Philadelphia Union. Oh, I'm sorry, the second longest Philadelphia Union member from Mount Saint Aignan, France. You guys already know him, the legend himself, the only man on the Wall of Fame for the Philadelphia Union. My man, my idol, Mr. Sebastien Toux. Sebastien, what's going on, man? Welcome to DOOP By The River. How are you feeling today?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's been a great weekend, and we are still, I think, very happy about all what happened in Philadelphia in the past few days.
Yes, Sebastien. I know for you, like you have really seen this club go from literally, a group of fans trying to get a club to Philadelphia to what it is right now, one of the most respected teams in the MLS. We'll get to it in a second, but I know you are as proud as the rest of us are, Sebastien.
Yes, I am. I mean, it was very emotional for me to see them, winning the Shield, on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Kind of like a fan right now, just kind of like you, but at the same time, playing with this team for all those years, and starting from the beginning and having the first trophy coming to this club, it's huge. So I was calling the game on the radio, and just talking about it. It was really, really emotional to just kind of see the joy of all the fans and people working for this team, and it was something like kind of unreal. But even if I was not a part of it on the field, you really feel very, very good inside myself that finally we got something for the fans we deserve.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I'm sure former players like yourself, your former teammates feel the same way. Like, listen, it doesn't matter if you're not part of this team anymore. Like, you feel what the Union went through on Sunday. It is truly an amazing day. But Seba and guys, let's get right into it. So obviously Sunday afternoon, we were talking about this match. This was a heavily anticipated match for the Philadelphia Union. Could the Union get it done? This was, again, another moment where the Union had an opportunity to set themselves apart as one of those teams that is one of the elite teams in the MLS. And guys, our Philadelphia Union finally did it. We have a trophy. It feels like weight has been lifted off our shoulders. The Union finished Sunday afternoon beating the New England Revolution 2-0, and yet New England still cannot beat us since 2017. Let's not forget that, ladies and gentlemen. So Sergio Santos Gomes with a nice first goal, and then of course later on Corey Burke. How could you not love the story of Corey Burke getting the second goal to lock up the supporter shield? It was truly a magical night, guys. If you want to relive it, definitely check out my vlog. It was my first vlog of the season, and it was definitely an emotional one. So definitely check that out. I think let's start with Jeff here, because Jeff, you haven't been on here in a minute. Well, I just kind of want to get your thoughts, man. What was your thoughts on the performance of the Union in that New England match?
I mean, I kind of went into it a little different than in past years as far as a game of this magnitude. Being a Union fan, you're just kind of waiting for the sky to fall, and I kind of just felt good the whole day. Like I wasn't even nervous, which was odd, especially for me. And they played their asses off. I really think that the thing about New England that made me nervous was that we've kind of been dominating them, and it's tough to beat a team, over and over again like that. It's kind of why I don't want to see them, in the playoffs, because that can only last for so long. So I'm kind of hoping someone knocks them off just in case. But I thought it was great. I was kind of surprised to see Freeze in there. He played well.
Yeah.
And you know what? My favorite moment of the celebration was when Andre came running out to the field.
My God, yeah.
My heart just, because you almost forgot. You see everyone, out there, and you think maybe he's just in the crowd, and then you're like, oh, there he is. And I'm thinking, like, don't anybody high five him, please.
No, it was definitely cool to see, because listen, Andre is as important to this run that the Union won on this season as anyone on this team.
Yeah.
So you definitely wanted to see Andre Blake there. He definitely deserves this as much as possible. We'll get to him in a second, because he's getting some respect around the league, and you absolutely love to see it. Justin, what were your thoughts on the Sunday's performance by our boys?
Well, first off, I was nervous as all heck because I was down in Myrtle Beach for my golf trip.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm the only one. I brought my Union jersey. We got off the course. I was ready. Everyone wanted to watch some football. I was able to commandeer the TV for the first half, and I sat with a beer in my hand, but sitting on the couch, just nervous as all heck. And man, my friends were trying to crack jokes, and I'm sitting there like I was locked in from moment one, and it was a little dicey early in the first half. I'll say that. Seeing Matt Freeze, get that first early action definitely helped calm some nerves, because he's a good young athletic goalkeeper, but you always want to see how they do in these kind of moments in that big chance. And he looked like he was pretty confident. And the team was building towards it. There was a few chances. How Bootner didn't get called for a PK on that tackle, beyond me. But some of the highlights of that first half have to be the mics closest to the field, because the amount of times that I heard either Jim Curtin or Bruce Arena, screaming, and it was mostly Bruce. And my Lord, the man complains a lot. The man really does complain. I've never heard a coach whine more than I have seen Bruce Arena.
All right. And
it was constant in the first half. And when you even heard it after the goal, you heard him screaming, offside, offside, offside. And I looked that play over at least 10 times. Listen, the ref kept the flag down. That play came back, and they had chances to look at it. Nothing happened. Second half started again a little slow. They had some good chances. Glasness forced, Turner and two. My Lord, that's a reactionary save if I've ever seen one. Pretty good save on the line. The play leading up to the second goal, how Bruce Arena, how anyone thought that was a foul. Buxa tried to go over Ray Gaddis and fell pretty quick. That's not a foul. And El Brujo with man, he couldn't have put any more heat on
Brujo
that ball.
Martinez. Let's
Corey
go.
just had to stick a leg out. That thing was going in regardless. And I loved the Wayne Rooney celebration. That was a bit of a throwback. I saw the celebration and that was my first thought, and I'm screaming, running around the apartment in Myrtle Beach. My friends thought I was crazy. I was screaming "Doop" at the top of my lungs, running around this tiny apartment. And when the final whistle blew, I like most Union fans, I honestly cried.
I did too.
It was probably, being a fan from the very beginning. I remember being at the first game,
When
Joe
someone scored.
Biden, everything, Seba scoring a hat trick. That's, being a junior in high school. That was one of my earliest memories of being a Union fan, and to have it come full circle.
Exactly.
I
Exactly, right there.
I was a bit of an emotional wreck for the
Yes.
rest of the night, but it was definitely worth it to see the Union finally say we have some silverware, because they're making the jokes about the Suncoast Invitational could only go for so long before we finally got an actual
Right.
trophy. So I will just say, for most Union fans I know, that was a
Relief was lifted.
day. Yes, the weight was lifted, and we got a damn trophy.
We have a trophy.
It's not gonna be it's not gonna be the only one we get this year.
Yay! I like it. I like it. Awesome stuff. All right, Tim. What do you got, man? What was your thoughts? You were up there in Rivers End, man. I saw you celebrating hard. What were your thoughts on the match, though?
I mean, honestly, just to keep it kind of short and to kind of bring it to what some of you guys were saying already, the bringing it full circle, I think, is really what this club has done here. Like, there are kids on the field for this game, the homegrowns, most of them, or some of them at least, were in the stands on that first game night, like you, Justin, watching this team, and they then went through the academy and they earned a place in the first team and they won the first ever trophy. To me, I think that was the most thing that brought tears to my eyes, was thinking about that. And then also, like you said, John, I was in the stands, so I was kind of capturing the mood, getting some pictures and some videos of just different fans. And
shouts to Tim. They were great videos and great pictures.
People, who are diehard Union fans that come out in the middle of this, global pandemic, and just sitting there, in their seats after the whistle finally blew, and just, crying or giving someone a hug that they've been with it, that they came with. So they're in the same little pod, so it's okay. There's still social distancing going on in the river end for most of the celebration. So that was a great thing to see as well. Now, this team just blew the doors off New England for the 5th time this year. I don't think they want to see New England in the playoffs, but maybe they do, because Bruce Arena can't beat the Union. So it is what it is.
Absolutely. It was an absolutely fantastic night. All right, Seba, I'm going to ask you here now. You have options here. You can answer this as a color analyst that you are. You can answer this as a fan, or you can answer this as the most important alum that we have here. But what were your thoughts on the performance from the Union on Sunday?
I mean, it was great to just, get the trophy at the end. It was the most important, depending on, of course, what Toronto was doing. But just, as a player before, I kind of know what all those guys were going through, knowing that they didn't, make it happen in Columbus the game before, because it was not even, the weekend before. And, being home, it's why you want to win. You like to win it at home. So I know they definitely had, some nerves, to come into this game and, really be able to, do it and, get the first trophy for this team. So it's definitely a little pressure, because that the expectations are high for all the fans, and, they cannot, let's say, F it up, as we say, in English. But
that's exactly how we say it.
Just knowing that, as player, like, even if I was not playing, I kind of know that, it was not the Predators game, and, we didn't get a 5-0 victory like they did against Toronto, but just, getting the win, it was the most important, and especially like having not Andre Blake, who, was a big part of the success of the team, and, the first start of Mr. Freeze, who did a great job, when he was calling upon. So the most important for me is just kind of like this game was kind of a direction of all what happened this season for them. It's the fact that, like you say, it's such a season that everybody will remember because of COVID and all what happened, and the fact that they had to play almost every 3 days the entire season. And it was not, it's what I say when I kind of talking about the game last weekend, that it's not just 11 guys who won this trophy. It's like the full group, like from the people coming from the academy to, 1-2 goalkeeper, and, the rotation as a center back we saw all year, but everybody brought something, even like, Corey Burke, who scores the final goal to really put the Union on top this week. It's kind of like it's a very kind of 2-3 players, but it's like a full group. It's like 11 guys on the field, but you saw like the chemistry and what it takes to win like trophy like this. It doesn't just take like 11 players. It takes like the full group with the coaching staff, and everybody has to be in the same page and chemistry, and really wants to play for each other. So it's great to see, and I think that's why they got successful this year, because you see that they love to play with each other, and everybody knows that even if they are not starting or not playing a big role, at the end of the day, they will still, bring something to this trophy. And everybody like on this team, not just 11 starter of this weekend, but all the guys who came on the game and helped, during the preseason or, during the Orlando tournament, made something a difference to have this trophy. So it's definitely a win for everybody, and it's very hard to play every 3 days, even if, of course, it was just in the Eastern Conference. But it's not something easy, knowing that the Union are not known to get like the biggest roster and everything. But credit to Ernst Tanner to make this team going through during all those games and not having many injuries. It was some, but when there was injuries, somebody step in and make the difference. So it's a great, healthy team, and good mentality, and it's what you need to win, title. And I was very happy for them to be able to do it. I had not really a doubt for them to not win this weekend. I was pretty confident, but you never know, when you have like this pressure, especially with lots of young players in this team. It's always, you are a bit in the unknown, but they responded well the entire season, so why not, in the last game. So I was pretty confident that they were going. I said 2-1, they will win at the end, but they won 2-0. So I was a bit like goal up, because I know they love to scare, the fans at the end. But, luckily for all of us, it was a little bit more relaxed at the end to know that 2-0 was much better. But it was a fun game, and it was just great to see that they got the first trophy.
Absolutely. Look, Subaru Park listen, the most important part of the Supporter Shield victory is we get home field advantage. Guys, we are a completely different team in Subaru Park. It is clearly tell we're undefeated. We haven't lost yet at Subaru Park. We had the tie, but we haven't lost yet. That's the important part. And it was clear on that night. After the first goal with Sergio Santos, I was like, okay, all right, I feel a little bit better, but I was still nervous. But then once Corey Burke got the second goal, I was like, okay, we got this. And then the nerves changed until like some relief. Like, okay, we're gonna get this trophy. We're finally gonna get this trophy. But Seba, so here on DOOP By The River, we like to look at this team as the fifth team in Philly sports. So as you know, here you lived here long enough, Sebastien. Like, the way the city works, it's all Eagles 24/7, 365, and then if the Sixers, Phillies, Flyers are good, they talk about that. But people need to start recognizing Union more. And I love that you mentioned kind of the DNA of the team, because you see, like we talked about, Matt Freese stepping up when we needed him in the most important match of the season. Corey Burke, he's a fantastic story for him to come back and play as well as he is. He stepped up as that third striker, essentially. Jose Brujo Martinez came back and played inspired soccer. This truly is a Philadelphia team, and you can truly, absolutely sense it. It was a great night. Guys, Union fans worldwide, no matter where you're from, if you're from the Philly area, somewhere in the United States or across seas, man, this was a day we can all finally rejoice. We got the monkey off our back. We have a trophy, but the job is not done. We have 2 weeks now. You can get a bye week. We'll wait and see who wins the Montreal and New England game. Of course, DOOP By The River will keep you up to date. We'll keep you entertained until that time comes. But definitely enjoy this for a little bit and know that we still got work to do. Good stuff, guys. Great stuff indeed. All right, guys. Well, look, we got our favorite player of all time here with us. So let's pick his brain a little bit. Let's toss it up a little bit with Sebastien too. I first wanted to start, Seba. For me, when it comes to Philly sports, I always, there's always like one player that I always look up to. So with the Eagles, it's Brian Dawkins. With the Sixers, it's Allen Iverson. With the Flyers, it's tossed up between Eric Lindros or Claude Giroux. And then with the Phillies, it's Chase Utley. But with the Union, we're really young, but we were blessed to have you because you kind of like set the tone for the future of the Philadelphia Union. You always brought hard work. Every time I saw you play, you didn't care who was across the field, whether it be Real Madrid or whether it be Chicago Fire. You came out with this intensity, and I think we related so much to you because you understood that, like in Philly, we love hard work. If we don't win, it sucks, right? It sucks if we're not winning. But if the team is out there giving it their all, like we love that and we respect that. So definitely thank you for that. I'm gonna allow my guys to start with the questions because they have some great questions. But I just wanted to say, Seba, thank you for what you have done to our club. I really wanted to let you know that. But Tim, if you wanna start it off, man.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I think just with everything that's been going on, I know we talked about Supporter Shield already, but I'd love to hear a little bit more of your thoughts on how you've seen this club kind of grow and mature over the 11 years now. I know it's still a very young club. Obviously, you were involved with those early years and kind of getting that structure and that base, but I'd love to just get your thoughts on the direction of the club from, just a player's look at it.
I mean, knowing that Philadelphia Union is kind of like known to not be like the richest team in this league, I think the fact that they really like focus their main, focus to be on the academy and really like kind of dig into all those wonderful, youth team and player we have here, but it's something like it needs to keep growing, not just in Philadelphia, but in America. But I think in Philly, they do a really good job about it since now a couple of years to really have player, I would say like a Matt Freeze or, Brian Anderson is not just being, since the 2 years, it's being like since, 6, 7, 8
right.
years, they have been in the academy. So it's getting better and better. There's still like a lot of things to be done because to get the model of the Europe where I come from, it's still very different. It's getting better, but it's most important, I think, for the American player, I'm sure rules will come very soon, is to be able to keep a young player if he's going into your academy, by a contract or something like this, but it's very, hard right now for a team in America to keep good player because they always go overseas right away because they will earn money because it's allowed, in Europe. It's not allowed in America right now, but they need to find the rules about that. But otherwise, no, I mean, just, having, let's say the teams that rise up right now, when I came, it was nothing. It was just the stadium, you guys, and that's it. So,
and a rental
like
field.
It was no podcast like we are doing right now. It was
right.
more like a training facilities that it is now. There was no field.
Right.
It was really like us in vans and going in Chester Park practicing, which now they have like the tools to progress and get better and really like be competitive, knowing that yes, they are going to have some big player like Ibrahimovic or Beckham or anything. No, it's because I don't think the ownership group wants that. They want to focus more on growing the youth here, plus having players that maybe doesn't have a big name now, but are really motivated and are hungry because it's what I guess the Philadelphia fans likes and want. They love players who fight, and it's it was in the name this year. Fight for Philly.
Yeah.
It's something that you are well known here in Philadelphia, and if you have a guy who just wants to be pretty and make his money and don't do a lot, it's not what you want. So I think since I came, it's getting I would think it's the same type of ways they want to build this team, but they are getting a bit smarter and they are going to get more and more knowledge, and there's more people who are knowledgeable who come to work for the team, like I would say Ernst Tanner, who came this year, I think really bring a lot in his vision about how to bring these teams the way that the ownership group wants to bring it. That gives a lot of credit now to the union, but it's what I was saying to one of the ownership person a couple of months ago. It's just, it takes time. You cannot have like a player who is Brennan Aronson who, looks good in U16, but when you become a professional and you play in a league and you play in the big games, it's hard. It takes a little bit of time, and sometimes you need to be patient to get some good players coming out of the academy. And I know they were thinking they were losing money, putting a lot of money into the academy and growing player. But I think now with having Brian Anderson being set in Salzburg, and having some player like Mackenzie coming, or even some player like Wagner who just got signed but maybe can probably leave for another big team soon, knowing that he's a very good left back and still very young. It's nice to see that Philadelphia can be known as a team like that for a player who really want to grow, and at the same time not maybe staying here but winning trophy, and at the same time after you are like how you say, like a little catapult for them to be better, and maybe play for a team where there is more money, and they can of course make more money, but when they play here, they know that they have to play for the badge, play for the fans, and everybody's going to be honest with them if they suck or if they are good. And it's what I think this team is known for now since 10 years, and they're in the league.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a really good point there, kind of at the end of having this team and sort of MLS in a broader sense kind of be that like developmental league for players that want to really make a name for themselves and then catapult to bigger leagues. I think we've seen a few other fans and media members kind of say that the Union maybe are trying to look a little bit like Ajax over in Europe and try to be a team like that. So do you have any thoughts on maybe the Union kind of being a team like that?
Yeah, probably. I mean, as of right now, and I would say, like, looking at what they did this year, they definitely look like the Ajax of 2 years ago with the run in Champions League, and at the end, they sell all the players for Barcelona, for Manchester United, and everything. So yeah, it's definitely a good comparison, but it's not what we need. It's not just 1 year of that. It's keep working on this. But I think the most like kind of having, for example, just a vision, just so you know. But like, if you have an Aronson who signed for Salzburg, and you are a kid who is 12-year-old or 10-year-old and just joins the Union Academy, you know that it's possible. Yeah. And it's what you need to know. You need to show that if you're a kid in America and you love soccer and you're good at it and you work hard and you keep progressing, good thing can happen to you. And it can happen to you when you play for Philadelphia, because Philadelphia give yourself some trust to put young player on the field. They don't wait for you to be 25-year-old and have 100 games somewhere else to make you play. If you are good, if you show you want to play, and when you are on the field you play well, like for example Fontana this year, who play very well, maybe we'll have a better shot next year and can be another good player. But he give like this kid of 10 12-year-old at the academy right now being like, okay, it can be me. And it's something that we didn't have before. And now it's something that can grow and become a team like Ajax can be a good example for sure to follow.
Yeah, that's another great point, because you brought up, these academy kids now seeing that. And I think it also kind of brings it full circle, like how we were talking about before. Matt Freese was at that first Union game. So he knew that at least it was for him and for other kids in this area, that now there's a pro team. You can, come and play pro there. And now that there's that second stepping stone of, if you're really good enough and you love soccer, you can then, make a name for yourself across those other European leagues as well. Yeah. So I'd love to hear what some of my colleagues here have for questions as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tim. Justin, you want to go next? You got some questions for the GOAT himself?
Sure. I got some questions from fellow Sons of Ben members in the Discord. I got a couple serious ones.
Shouts to SOBs.
Couple funny ones as well. I'm gonna start with a question from Evan. He asked, Saba, what's your favorite goal that you've ever scored in a Union jersey?
Oh God, it's like it's a question I got often, and to be really honest with you, I don't have one. Like, I would say the one I score like if you know me as a player, like the hustle and who I was, I love the second goal I scored against DC during my hat trick. For one reason, it's just because I was on the post in the corner and I just sprained my ass and I finished in front of the goal, and I got a great ball by Alejandro Moreno who really found it perfectly, but I hustled and I scored in the other box. And it's kind of like define me as a player. It's who I was. I go box to box and, you know, I keep going. Or I don't know if you remember the goal at home against Montreal. He started from a corner again, and a goal kick from Zach McMass who find me behind the defense. I kind of hustled and it was the head back. I ran around the keeper and it was just a little tapping. But it's who I like. It's a goal like that. But those is kind of like who define me as well. Is after if I ask you for the maybe the most technical one I score, I will tell you it's the one against Houston in my first year. A ball over the top by Roger Torres, and I trap the ball perfectly with my lap. I cannot like trap it better, and I finish in a volley, like nice and easy pass on Stad, and it was a goal. But otherwise, if you ask me for my favorite, like, and it's really honest for me, it's every time I score at home, not away, at home, and just the crowd noise. Yeah, not even the doop. It just kind of like as soon as the ball, like, you know, when you're on the field, you feel like, you know, when the goal is almost coming, and you feel the fan kind of like start standing out of their seat and like cheering, and just a bra, you know, as soon as the ball hit the net, it's very hard to explain because people who score the goals kind of like have to be on the field and feel it, but it's just every time I thought about it, that's why I miss so much to play in the stadium, because it's always my best memory. It's every time I score, and it doesn't have to be just, you know, even an open cup or anything, and I score and the ball hit the back of the net and all of the stadium like erupt. It was the best feeling. It was just kind of like for 20 seconds, it was like nothing, you know, it's just you are I don't do drugs, but you are, you know, on drugs. You know, you are like, I don't know. It's a feeling that it's very hard to explain, but it was the best. So I don't have a favorite one. It just the sensation of scoring at home in front of the fans was just amazing.
So I think that's what makes the sport so beautiful. Like I always tell, because obviously this area is full of like crazy American football fans, and I always tell them that like scoring a goal is 10 times better than watching a touchdown. And they like look at me crazy, but literally watching a goal is one of the best feelings in sports. And I'm not lying. I'm not lying. But I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Justin, you got another question there?
Yeah, I'll go with the with one of the other serious questions before I go into a couple of funny ones. Jared Nisley, a capo currently and the head of the Sons of Ben, the Union Happy Hour, asked, how does it feel to have helped build this team into what it is now and finally see them lift their first piece of hardware? Because Seba, as you mentioned before, I mean, you guys were running space in Chester Park, and if I remember correctly, you guys got kicked off a few times. You couldn't have your own field. So this team's come a long way from the early days. But yeah, how does it feel to have been a integral part of what helped build essentially what, you know, you leads to the Brendan Aronsons to Salzburg?
No, I mean it's good, like you say. We definitely get kicked out a few times out of field, but I guess this is what happened. No, I mean it's hard to see just right now, just because it's still, you know, very early. Like it's been just 10 years in this franchise, but it's just nice to see that you know, you have some respect here about, you know, what you did before, and the fact that every player who have been playing for this team, even if it was not as long as I did, but always have good memory here, and always wanted to be good to the city and to the fans, and wanted to like make this team, you know, the best they possibly can. So I think I would probably see it maybe, I don't know, in 10, 20 years, you know, when I'm much older, I'll be like, yeah, I was one of the first one, you know, here, and it was not like it is now in 20 years, knowing that, like you say, the story about getting kicked out from a summer camp of a field, and we are like, okay, what do we do now? And we have no field to go for, a day, and we just ran around the stadium. It was our session. So yeah, it's we have so many stories to say, but it's still so early now. But having the first trophy, it's definitely like nice to see, knowing that when I meet and hang out sometimes with Freeze or Brennan Nelson or Matt McKenzie, who kind of watch us play, and you can see that they are like, there's some respect already, because they know about how hard it was for us, but the fact that now all what they have to bring this team again to the next level, rebrought it to a different level, but they can even bring it even more to a higher level, and you can see that it's what they want to do as well. So it's kind of nice to see, but it's still for me early to kind of like have a perspective about what happened, in those first year and having the first trophy now. But it was definitely emotional for me, and I know for all the players who really play and love to play for this club, I think it was as well.
All right, Seba. Well, now let's on to the let's get a little lighter here.
Okay.
Michael Borden asks, Seba, since now you're about as Philly as Rocky and a cheesesteak, what's your favorite Philly food that you've adopted since you've been in the area?
Philly food I adopted. I mean, it's not. I mean, Philly, of course, by the cheesesteak, because it's really like Philly, but it's. I mean, I love American food. I just love it. I eat junk, so I stay skinny. I'm very lucky, but I love every time, like all the food you have here, even if it's not American food, but you have so many like different type of food you are able to eat. So, but from Philly, yeah, definitely the cheesesteak is it's good, but I like, and sometimes I do like chicken cheesesteak. I know, I'm sorry guys, but I love chicken cheesesteak too. So,
it's okay. They're good.
Yeah, the cheesesteak is definitely the Philly things for sure.
Do you prefer Philly food to French food now? That's the question.
Oh, put him on the spot.
Be careful, Jeff.
You can say both.
You might still have to go back.
Okay. Now I love the French food, of course, but because it's such a very rare for me to get it now. What I still miss the most, and it's kind of like every time I go to France, I do it every day. I miss just waking up, walking to a French bakery and buy a ton shit of chocolate croissant and baguette and bread, and because it's very rare to be able to find a good one here. Or if you have a good one, you need to drive 10 miles, or which in France you just walk down the street, and it doesn't matter if it's 2 blocks or 5 blocks, they are still very good.
So, as a Colombian, I felt that. As a Colombian, I felt that, so because we're the same way. Like we have a bakery at every corner in Colombia. We go in, we get our breads. We don't do croissants a lot, but we do something similar. Yes. So I felt that. I felt nothing like that fresh bread, like fresh out the oven.
Yeah, and it's not like you need to be at 6 a.m. You still go at 7 p.m. after work, and they do like the second time. And
all day.
So yeah, it's what I miss sometimes a lot here.
Awesome stuff.
And all right, Seba, last one from Amy, and I know this because I've seen you down there a few times and talked with you a few times. Your favorite beer from the Larimer, because I know you're friends with Matt. I've talked to you a few times down there.
I mean, yeah, since I stopped playing, I would say I drink definitely more beer, because I never really drank beer before when I was playing. But now knowing Matt at the Larimer and my good friend at the Sterling Pig in media, I had a few beers, and if you just ask for the Larimer, my favorite one every time I go there, I like the K38. So like the Mexican lager, because it's light, it's good. But I love when you do like sometimes you had like the Revolution was good. If I go more in IPS, but it just like he do so many every time, so it's hard to like hang on into one.
Did you try the Bad Apples yet, Seba?
No, I didn't try this one.
Oh, it's great. You gotta get it. Great.
No, I will get it, but like with COVID and everything, it's been so hard to get more and everything. But like some of his seltzers, I like it too. The one with the coconut one, I forgot the name of it, but it was pretty good. but yeah, so the KS38 usually like when I go there because I'm driving, I just have 1 or 2, and I go home because otherwise I'm still a lightweight. So after 2 IPA, I need to follow Uber.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. All right, Jeff, what you got some questions there for our boy?
I've got some questions. So first, I wanted to show you guys this.
Oh my God! You brought the baby blue.
So
that's a throwback.
That's actually signed right there. And we've got 11 here on 11/11.
Yeah.
So what's funny is, Seba, you were, I think, going to be at Chicky and Pete's on the Boulevard in the Northeast. This was years ago, and I told my girlfriend, I said, I'm going to go there and I'm going to get this guy to sign my jersey. She's like, what are you, 12 years old? I'm like, you don't understand. So I was standing there with like a bunch of like 6-year-olds. It was the funniest thing ever. But I jumped on him right as soon as he came in the door. So I did want to say first, before I ask you a few questions, and I think, the other guys hinted towards this too, that, how important you were to, I'd say, especially non-soccer fans in the city, because I didn't know the sport that well, but when I fell in love with it, when you're trying to get someone in the United States who doesn't follow soccer or know much about it, and they start asking about the team, they're not following the intricacies of the game, but what everyone understands is scoring. So, I couldn't say to someone who had never been to a match, like, oh, you have to come see the center back, or you have to see this defensive midfielder and how he shuts things down. Like, it just wouldn't work. So, so many of us relied on just talking about you, and you have to see this guy, and he's probably going to score tonight. So, just for a reason like that, it was kind of extra important to have you there. And I don't know if they didn't have you, who we would have, pointed out as this is the guy. I did have, before I got to my questions, I have 2 most memorable moments involving you, and one was not involving a goal. I remembered you ran into the ad board on the field.
Yes.
I guess it was PPL then, and the sound was awful. I mean, you heard you clanging off of the aluminum, and then everyone looked at what was going on. I think you had blood maybe pouring down your arm.
I remember
still
that
have
one.
it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got.
It looked awful.
I got 12 stitches.
Oof. But yeah, I think you stayed in the game, right? You stayed in the game.
I mean, I fell, and now they have like it would have been a good sue. I could have sued these people, but I didn't. But on the advertise board before, like, it wasn't any caution pad, but now there is caution pad, and I tried to keep the ball in play, but the defender kind of shoved me into those advertise board, and I know I was going to fall, and I know it was going to be my head first. And instead of putting my head, I put my arm to kind of protect myself, but my arm kind of slide on the advertised board, and I kind of slice myself, and it really hurt, but I keep my hand like this on it, and I was like, damn, what's happening? And I kind of see it was really bleeding, but I kind of came back on the field, and when I came back on the field in the midfield line, because it was about the goal kick line for the keeper, I really looked at my hand. It was full of blood. I didn't pass out, but I was close. And I just sit on the field to have them, put the ball out. And the trainer saw my Polly, rushing, saw my cut. He was like, listen, you need to come out. We need to put stitches. He was not for me able to play. So I came out of the game after this play. But yeah, it was a weird injury to get in a soccer field, especially just getting thrown out in the advertised board. But yeah, I got a good memory. I have a badass scar now. I don't have a lot of scar, but yeah, it's a
battle wound. Okay. Yeah, and my other moment is it's definitely more lighthearted. Was your attempt at an Eric Ayuk I guess it was a forward flip round off, and you made like you were about to attempt it, and then went into some kiddie forward roll.
So yes, so this one I still have it in my phone on video because I kept the video of it because it was just to be funny because Ayuk, it was his first goal, and I'm the one who gave him the assist. You know, I got the ball on the side and I just crossed him and he just had to tap it in. And I remember it was me and Vincent Noguera who were kind of like, you know, because he was speaking French, we tried to like, you know, kind of help him and, you know, be always like with him. So when he scored, we were very happy for him. And we were thinking, okay, he was going to like jump in my arm or Vincent or celebrate. And he started doing all of those flips. And I was like, dude, shut it down. Let's go. Like we want to jump on you, you know? And he was just doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And at the end, I was like, you know what? You know, F it again. Sorry for my French. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to just have fun with it because I cannot do any of those flips because I'm not flexible at all. I'm just going to do a somersault just for the fun. And I just did like the worst somersault ever. And I guess everybody's thought about it and think about it and always talk to me about it. So
it was great though. We all loved it.
It was just to show you that I could have done that as well, like I used, but not as well. But I did one. And
right.
And after we jump on him, but yeah, it was just it's a funny. But yeah, I got this replay on my phone. I always keep it because it always make me laugh when I see this celebration.
That's so funny.
That's great. Okay, my 2 questions are kind of related. I'd like to know during your time with the Union, who was the toughest defender you played against, and who's the toughest defender on the Union that you played against in practice?
So toughest defender I play against another team?
Yeah.
Wow, that's. I remember I didn't play often against him, but at that time I didn't like to play against Omar Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to play against because he was always kind of like, you know, marking you and grabbing you, and I never liked that. And he was always good in the air, so it was impossible to, you know, pass the ball because I always loved the ball on the top, and he was always having a good position to clear the ball. So even if I didn't play against him a lot, he was one of the, because he was, you know, when he was like starting to be very good and having, you know, a big name with LA Galaxy. It's one I remember, like, it was not my favorite one. And for the Union, I mean, yeah, like it's hard. Like you should have them. Who didn't like to play against me? No. I mean, it was me good. Like the first year, like I never liked to be next to Danny Calif, for example, because you know, he was not the fastest, but he just like kicked me every time I was making a run. Or after, you know, when we go back down, I would say, like, compared to this year, I have to say, like, the Union have really, really good 2 or 3 center backs, which I think was a big piece missing all those years because we have so many goals against us, and it's a lot about sometimes, you know, our defense was, you know, just one good guy, not 2 and everything. But I mean, like the hardest defender to one of the hardest was, you know, Ray Gaddis was always hard to beat because it's very good on one-on-one, and plus with his speed, even if I was passing him, he was always coming back and, you know, kind of got back into his feet. If, you know, I just talk about a guy who's still playing for the team, but after, I don't know, we had so many guys, you know, playing defense. It's hard to like get something. But yeah, as of right now, I'd be like the one who came to my mind right now. But otherwise, I have to say I beat all of them guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome stuff.
No. But yeah, it was hard. But usually, like, I have to say, when we always play at practice, a lot of the time, I always play with the good defender. I didn't play a lot against them. So I always play against the rookies and the young guys. So it was to bring my confidence high so I can, you know, score goals in the weekend. So I guess it's a good training.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's good.
That was the important part. That was absolutely the important part. Awesome stuff. Well, actually, real quick, funny story about Seba. When I first met him in person, we were at Fox 29. We were doing I think we were promoting the new jerseys for the Union in the 2020 season, and Mac and Desic tells me to show up, and he just I don't know what to wear, so I was like, I don't want to wear a jersey, so I was like, oh, you know what, I'll wear a Sebastien t-shirt I have here. People probably don't know who Sebastien is. I'll wear it on TV, and then I show up to Fox 29, and then I go into the dressing room, and who's standing there? Sebastien and I'm like, hey, Seba. Covering my my t-shirt. I'm like, well, this isn't awkward at all or anything. So that's my funny story with Seba. But Seba, what I want to ask you, I think very highly of our current coach, Jim Kirchin. I think he deserves a lot more respect. Some do give him. I know the MLS these days are giving him a lot of respect, but I think very highly of him. You were actually blessed to see him in the beginning of him becoming the coach that we see now. Kind of like talk about what your first thoughts were of Jim when you first met him, and kind of talk about the development of 2015 to 2020, the coach that Jim Kirchin is now.
I mean, just being able to see him, when he came to the team, he was the assistant, with John Acker. So I know him already from that, and I kind of know him as a player too because. He played in the league, and I kind of saw him play a few games as well. So we kind of knew each other like that. I didn't know he was, from the Philly area at the beginning, so I kind of knew that after when he arrived. But just kind of as a coach, he was always, a good assistant coach because he was always, close to the player, always nice, always like to, play, and kind of a good person. So it was always a good feeling right away. But after when John Ackworth got, fired and he took over the team. I remember I was doing the little break of the World Cup, I think, in 2012 or 13. He was kind of at the time that I was not playing that much. I was not starting lots of games for whatever reason, I don't know. But, and he kind of kind of bring back not just me, but a lot of all the guys, to start again the team because it was a lot of younger guys who were playing, but not a good result were happening. So he kind of bring me back, and from that we had a good run in the Open Cup, and I think the good run in Open Cup kind of make him become the head coach of the team, and after that I think it just all about him and what he he can bring, I think, to a team first. I think as a person, because I think when you play, especially in Philadelphia, he's probably a good coach to have because he can bring some confidence and good leadership to those young players, but in the same time, he knows that, okay, how all the players can be an Alejandro Bedoya, for example, in the team, and how to speak to them as well. So it's, I think he's been growing into the job in the past, now 5 years or 6 years, he's been a coach. And I think it's what I will say, when I was with him, it's a lot, I think, of experience he needed, to be more and more a coach. I think like anybody, when you do a job, you learn more and more when you are doing it, and all the obstacles, coming to you in your career. So I think it's what happened to him, and he probably, learned a lot from season after season what he can do better and how he can, bring this team to his best. And credit to him that he always, choose the right player to play and have, like I said before, not just 11 guys who are, ready to play the game, and have, the sub guys who, sometimes it happens, they're mad, they don't want to play for you and everything. If he has, an entire group who wants to play for him and play for the city, it's the most important thing to be, and he's right now, able to do that with his group. So credit to him about, finding a way to get the best result out of this group of guys, which maybe on the paper are not, the best when you look at the name and who they are, but he's able to, get the best out of all of them when they need to be at their best. So he's being, pretty good this year, and hopefully, he keep, he doesn't stop here, and keep growing as a coach, and know how to train better teams that maybe the Union, if he decide one day to go somewhere else, like a Jesse Marsh or something like this, who went to Europe. It can be something good for him. But who knows? I don't know
We're rooting for him. We're
what
rooting for him.
is his goal and what he wants to accomplish. But I think this year was a great accomplishment for him as a coach, and he was going to be remembered to be the first coach who bring a silverware to this team.
Absolutely. And I agree with what you're saying. I think that Jim really has this mentality, which I love. Like, I feel like he was always just trying to get better. And like he's always just trying to find the answer. Like, obviously, day one, 2015, he probably didn't know exactly what to do to be the head manager of the Philadelphia Union. But now in 2020, he knows what the hell he's doing. And I think you're right, Seba. If he keeps on this track, guys, there's no way that Jim is not going to be looked at by some of these European clubs. So I fully agree with you on that. All right, my next question, Seba. So obviously, there's no secret. The Union don't get as much love as they do in the city of Philadelphia. So what I want from you is for these fans, and I'm going to call them the 4-for-4 fans, the fans who are not fully buying in onto the Philadelphia Union. You lived here long enough. Why should they invest their time and their money and their emotions to the Philadelphia Union?
I mean, it's a good question. It just, for me, and I know for all of you, who are with me right now, it's it didn't start right away. For everybody, it's kind of like come with time, come with coming to one games that make a difference for you and you really enjoy. I will say, like, for a lot of people, it's they never know what is it to be at a game. So I would say just first come to see a game and have your own criticize about it. Of course, hopefully it's a game that the team score a goal. Very different than when you score a goal and when there is just a draw or if they lose the game. But I have to say, like, if they come to a game, usually half of the people already change their mind because it's a different atmosphere. There's no timeout. It's a completely different game than all the American games you have here. I would say maybe basketball and hockey doesn't have as much timeout, but there's still a bit of timeout. Mm-hmm. And after, I think it's just a matter of time for anybody in this country. It comes with if you were young and now you were a soccer fan and now you have children, you pass it along. And I kind of feel that it's a lot in this country since I moved here 13 years ago. It's it just everything got brought generation to generation. So if your dad doesn't like soccer or he grew up with baseball, he's not going to really bring it to you. Besides maybe the kid who really wants to play soccer and is good at it, but it's not going to come from the family. Or if you are an Eagles fan, you just stay an Eagles fan. But I always say, like, there's always room for soccer in America. It's not it's not because you have baseball and hockey and basketball and football that there's no place for soccer, especially that because the schedule is so different than all those sports as well. But I think it just comes with time, and I feel like if somebody like right now, you guys who follow the team now almost since 10 years, and you are going to keep talking about it and you're going to keep loving it, and it's kind of like in your blood right now. Like you know that, okay, maybe you'll be mad after 1-2 years, or like the Sixers, we were mad for like 5-6 years because they were like terrible, but who love basketball, they still follow them with a click on it. Even if they're not going to the game, but as soon as the team start being good, it's where people come back. And for soccer and for the Union now, the fact that first the shield is now ours, like people will be like, okay, we are a winning team, so it brings like more pride about all the fans. And after you even talk more about it, and there's more after media coming and more TVs coming and everything, it's kind of like how it grows. But I think in my head, and if it grows like that and it keep growing, I would say by 2026, when the World Cup will come to America, and hopefully by that time, the US national team is going to be a very good team with all those young players coming, and they're going to really bring something like your unity, towards this country. People will love to become a soccer fan. So if you live in Philadelphia, you're like, okay, which is the team in Philadelphia? The Union. I'm a Union fan now, and I want to go watch a game because I love to watch the World Cup game of the US team. And it's how kind of like you keep growing, because it's what happened in France. Just to tell you my story, like a lot of guys, of course, in France, soccer is number one. But when the France national team won the World Cup in '98, it was unbelievable how many people like start going to the game and how much like the TV right went up and everything, just because of the France winning the World Cup. I'm not saying that the US is going to win the World Cup in 26, but if they just like go to like a quarterfinal, and something like this, it would just bring so much to these sports, and everybody's going to talk about it. Like you see for the Women's World Cup, the Women's won, and everybody is like behind them. Everybody like, I follow, the game just because I love soccer. But I saw so many people are like, oh, I'm watching the women's team. I'm like, you don't even watch the Union game. Why are you watching? You know what I mean? And it's how it goes. It's just because if your country first, you are good at something, people will follow. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, I feel like the result of the national team in the past couple of years have been very bad, and it's very hard to like think, oh, in America we have a good team or we have good soccer when your national team doesn't do very well.
Right.
So I think it's kind of like a balance between the two, and plus after in the mentality of how this country is kind of like build and grow in the mentality of people. More time goes, I think more soccer fans will become, because soccer entertainment, I feel, is more entertaining than maybe sometimes baseball or even like sometimes basketball if you follow a bad team or whatever, because there's so many games in soccer. It's just 30 games and an hour and a half and you're done. It's very quick, and the good thing too is everybody can play.
Yeah,
I still play, just for fun, because I love to play, and you just need a ball. It's a very cheap sport, and you don't really need to run around. If you just want to play center back and don't run, you play center back. But you can play at every age. It's what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
When I want to play football, no chance. I don't want to play football. I don't want to get crushed by a 300 pounds guy who come right at me. No chance. Same for hockey. I don't know how to ice skate, and plus you will got check and everything. I want to stay healthy. And baseball, like I saw so many people who have arm injury and hip injury and everything. Soccer, besides the knee injury, which is very bad for soccer. But if you play like nice and easy and you don't try hard, you can still have fun. You can play with your kids. You can play with different ages. It's a good sport. It's a sport that really can bring a lot of people together. It's just going to come with time, I think. It's still early, but I have to tell you, like, since I'm living in America since 13 years, I saw such a huge difference. It's night and day, and it's just 13 years. So imagine in like 20 more years, what can it bring? It will take time, but I think we are still at the beginning here, and it's just fun to see it grow. But it will come, of course, with person like me and you guys who keep bringing awareness to people who don't know about the game. But you can just say, hey, just come to see one game with me. And a lot of people I talk to are like, damn, I was hooked. And a lot of you guys who tell me story like, oh, when you score this goal, oh yeah, no, I came to every game after. But it can just be me, it can be Aronson, it can be Mackenzie, it can be Andre Blake, whatever people like. If they come to see a game and they like something, they will come back. So it's just to come to the stadium and just see the atmosphere, see the sound of bands, see the the chants, the atmosphere, everything around the stadium before. It's just a good show. Plus, it's a good entertainment, and it's fun, especially if in your heart you want the Philly team to win. You're always kind of like on the edge of the seats to see a goal. So it's always fun. But that I already know that because I play the game. So I'm not trying to like get you guys again. But I think it's how people need to change. But in France, it's the number one sport. You grew up.
Yeah.
I know it's not the case. So it just takes time.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I completely agree. I think the sport will one day be that fifth sport. I do think it will be that fifth sport, but it does take time. And like you said, the U.S. men's national team, if that team becomes good, it would definitely help the growth. I completely agree with you. All right. Well, Seba, the last one, it's a little bit close to my heart here. As you guys know, I am the honorary Colombian Philadelphia Union fan. So Seba, you played with 3 Colombian players that I love very dearly. Roger Torres, Carlos Valdez, Efrain Mondragon. My question for you, Seba, who was your favorite Colombian player you played with?
I have to say Roger Torres because he always give me the best pass to score goals. So.
They were some beautiful passes.
It's just easy. He was, a little hard sometimes to make him understand because his ego was a bit hard because as a young player, plus his English was as broken as mine or even more broken. So you can imagine the conversation we had in the locker room. But now, yeah, it's I mean, Roger, I love to play with him. He saw the game the same way than I see it, and he was a very good young Colombian talent who was very good with his left foot. So no, I love to play with him. But Farid Mondragon, I watched him when he played in France. He played, in Colombian national team, so many World Cups. So just being able to kind of share his head and how his career and all the crazy thing he saw in his life, he was just kind of like amazing to hear.
I bet he's got stories. I bet he has stories.
Yeah, he has a lot. So I was always kind of like sitting at the table to him every time on trip to like, so what happened here? What happened? I was like, did you know this guy? He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay. We know who I'm talking about, right?
Maybe.
A big Colombian drug dealer.
Oh yeah. We won't.
Okay.
Yes, he.
Okay, sorry, guys.
If you ask many Colombians, we have different stories. Even myself, I have stories to tell. But yeah,
it was great to like hear all his stories, not just for that, but like in soccer, everywhere he'd been, and all what he accomplished. He was amazing. And Carlos too. Carlos is a very, very good defender. Like so, like you could be like on the list for sure. On the it didn't come to my head, but like. The defender was always hard to play against at practice. Carlos is definitely one of them that, I prefer to be with him on a team than against him.
Awesome stuff.
Crunching tackles aren't always pretty, are they?
Is there?
Those crunching tackles aren't always fun to be on the receiving end on.
I have to say, Carlos was a very good defender to stay on his feet. He never really tackled that much, but he was so good to like intercept and read the game, and he was good. And sometimes, he tackled here and there, but he was not too many times because he always anticipates. So he was very smart.
That's good to hear. Awesome stuff. All right. Seba, that's our podcast here. Do you have anything to say to the Union fans? Any encouraging words or whatever you would like to say to the fans listening to right now?
Just say like keep bringing it to the game, guys. Knowing right now it's a tough time. Having not as many of you in the stadium because of all what's happening outside, and it's you are definitely missed. As for sure, I feel a bit like sad that the stadium was not full last weekend to celebrate with all the team. But I just say like keep doing what you're doing because it really works, and I'm telling you like. We can hear you when we are on the field. And it doesn't matter if you are just 1,000 or 18,000 in the stadium. It's a big difference when you are behind the team. And I was one of them on the field, and it definitely gives me so much more energy when I know that you are all behind us. So definitely everybody appreciate all what you do for the team on and off the field, and especially when you are all at the stadium to support. So much appreciated, and it's not just for me, but from every player who is playing, I think right now, plus all the one who already play for this team.
Encouraging words. Awesome stuff. Seba, thank you so much for hopping on. Truly means the world to us. This is a monumental episode of our podcast, and truly we can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys, and I'll probably see you soon around the stadium for sure.
Oh yeah, of course. We'll be cheering for Ray Gaddis to score a goal.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's what.
I really thought he had it.
I thought so too.
I know. I need to maybe do a session with him, just one-on-one.
Yes, please. We want it. We really want it.
Sebastien, personal session. Sit down.
He's going to have it. Or maybe, I don't know, if they win like 4-0 and there's a PK, just have it.
Yeah. Let him take it. He deserves it. Great heart.
I think so.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for listening to DOOP By The River. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. That's Justin, Tim, and Jeff over there. I'm in Barcelona, Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on. We'll talk to you guys very soon.